In the silence of the night, the comfort of home becomes the stage for the most terrifying reality. The intrusion of strangers into a space that should be the safest place of all. Tonight, we will explore stories of people who lived through this nightmare and against all odds survived. These accounts are not just about fear, they are about courage, survival, and the strength to face the unthinkable. It all begins with a young woman, only 24 years old, studying late at night for her college exams. The street outside was calm, silent, broken only by the distant barking of a dog. She believed she was alone, until the sound of faint, cautious steps echoed near her living room window. At first, she thought it was her imagination. But then, a shadow moved across the glass, and the unmistakable creak of a window being forced open made her freeze in place. Panic took hold, but instead of confronting the unknown, she remembered a piece of advice. Survival is the priority. She slid quietly behind the couch, clutching her phone, her trembling fingers dialing for help. The intruder entered, heavy footsteps crossing the floor, unaware of her silent desperation. And then, perhaps disturbed by the sudden sound of her phone or sensing something wrong, the figure fled into the night before finding her. Minutes later, police confirmed her fears. The lock had been broken, the house violated. But she was alive. In that moment, she realized that choosing survival over confrontation had saved her life. Our next story takes us to a quiet suburb, where a man in his mid-30s was preparing for bed after a long day at work. His routine was ordinary, almost comforting. But that night, the ordinary became terrifying. The noise at the back door caught his attention. At first, he assumed it was the wind, until the sound of metal scraping against the lock echoed through the kitchen. His heart pounded. He had no weapon, no way to defend himself directly. Instinct drove him to act. He quickly unplugged his television, dragging it noisily across the floor, creating the impression that multiple people were awake and moving inside the house. The intruder, startled by the sudden commotion, abandoned the attempt and fled into the darkness. Shaking, the man realized that improvisation, not strength, had been his greatest weapon. By creating uncertainty in the mind of the invader, he had protected himself without confrontation. But not every story begins with signs of danger. In another city, a young mother of 30 was putting her baby to sleep. The night seemed calm, until the sound of shattered glass ripped through the stillness. Terror surged as she saw a figure forcing its way through the window. She grabbed her child and rushed to the closet, hiding in absolute silence. Her heart thundered so loudly she feared the intruder would hear it. For minutes that felt eternal, she listened to the stranger's footsteps moving through the house, drawers opening, objects falling. She clutched her baby tightly, fighting the urge to cry. Suddenly, the sound of sirens echoed outside. Neighbors had called the police after hearing the break-in. The intruder fled before reaching her hiding place. Trembling, the mother realized that protecting her child had given her a strength she never knew she had. That night, she survived not only by hiding, but by embodying the primal force of maternal protection. Each of these stories carries a common thread. The house, once a symbol of safety, transformed into a stage for fear. Yet they also remind us of something greater. Survival is not just instinct, it is creativity, resilience, and courage. These people did not allow fear to define them. They used it as fuel to think, to adapt, to resist. And perhaps the most important lesson is this: fear is universal, so is the will to live. These survivors remind us that even in the darkest moments, there is a spark of hope. The night may belong to shadows, but courage always finds a way to shine.